We're going to get started with our next panel discussion, Education and Healthcare. The subtitle is Linked to a Healthy Economy, and I've noticed that there's something that is common among all our panel members. They all have terminal degrees. I've never seen a list with so many doctors on it. We have our area higher education presidents, Dr. Clifford Coppersmith, Dr. Ray Hoy, Dr. Chuck White, Dr. Heidi Anderson from the 3 universities, Dr. Donna Hanlon from Wycomico Public Schools, and Steve Leonard, whom I saw only like 12 hours ago, President and CEO of Penn Regional Medical Center. I'm not going to go into their bios, they're in the program, but you'll see that we have stellar team of leaders in our education and healthcare institutions here, and they are going to share with us briefly about 4 or 5 minutes initially about what their institution is doing and how what they're doing fits into the healthy economy, and then we're going to open it up to questions. Who do we start with? Dr. Coppersmith, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you my story about my 12-year-old who said when I got my doctorate that I had the kind of doctorate that meant that I couldn't help people. Anyways, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. My name is Cliff Coppersmith. I'm just started my 2nd year at Chesapeake. I've been involved mostly in general education, supporting health sciences until my 3-year stint in the Montana state system. And of course now at Chesapeake, running a really fine portfolio of fully accredited programs in nursing, paramedic, surge tech, and leaving one out. Oh, radiation technology. And we also have a partnership program in physical therapy assistant that we do with Anne Arundel that's very good. Our programs are very well supported in terms of laboratories and equipment, and we have good faculty. I would say the operative word for us right now is partnerships with business and industry, and the healthcare industry in particular, revitalizing our healthcare programs advisory committees, and also working on the non-credit side, which is very important. I think of all the areas that, of course, are in dire need, our CNA program is not producing enough graduates, and that's something we continue to try to develop answers to, and again with partnerships with our local healthcare providers and also our political and government partners that we share with the counties and of course our state resources. We've really turned to workforce in the last 18 months. It had started before my arrival. That's a national reality. Everywhere I have been, including Pennsylvania, Montana, and now Maryland, we don't have enough technicians in any of these areas to support the needs of our community. So it's something I take very seriously, and one that we have really moved the needle on. We have a new Dean for Workforce that we brought on in the last month. I have basically a new revitalized Vice Presidential staff, and we are all dedicated to both, first of all, serving our students and serving them well, but also being responsive to our communities that we serve in the 5-county region on the Mid-Shore.
Did it?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Cliff, that was quick, and I was thinking before this started that college administrators, presidents, and heads of hospitals and public schools are probably just behind ministers in terms of how much time they can take, and we'll find out about politicians at lunchtime. So that's great. I appreciate the fact that Cliff is president of my alma mater and where I cut my teeth for 24 years, Chesapeake College, just up the road. So I'm very delighted to have him here with us and be sitting here with our educational partners and our partners in the healthcare field because we work so closely together in so many ways. And great. I've got a PowerPoint presentation to keep me on schedule because, as my staff knows, and a few of them are out there, I could probably talk all day. So this will keep me going. So I like to start with our mission because that's what we're all about. And this institution, your community college, is a comprehensive community college that really focuses on local economic growth by addressing the education, training, and workforce needs of our Lower Shore community. That's what we're all about as an institution. As a comprehensive community college, we serve about 10,000 students each year. And I call it a 3-legged stool. Career training for immediate entry into the workforce, degrees and certificate programs. Transfer curricula to transfer to our four-year partners, and we're the principal feeder school to both of my partners to my right, Salisbury University and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, where our students will start with us and move on and continue their education, both in the career and technical programs as well as the direct transfer type programs. And the third component of this is workforce development, customized training, and continuing education. I want you to understand what our vision is. We want to be the leader in enhancing the quality of life on the Lower Shore by developing a world-class workforce and providing excellence in education and training for our region. See if this works for me. Since 1975, Warwick Community College has been preparing people in our community for the jobs that touch all of our lives. Warwick trains almost 350 healthcare workers each year, including nurses, certified nursing assistants, occupational and physical therapist assistants, EMTs, substance abuse counselors, phlebotomists, dental assistants, EKG technicians, and medicine aides. About 200 of these 350 healthcare workers are in the nursing profession. Area businesses, large and small, benefit annually from the training that their employees receive from Warwick. Employees who work in their accounting, human resources, and IT departments, in real estate and insurance offices, as well as medical and law offices. We annually provide about 50 hospitality industry employees for all sorts of jobs in local hotels, motels, and restaurants. About 1,000 local law enforcement and correctional officers from 80 different agencies are trained at Warwick each year. Warwick supplies area child care centers with about 25 new child care workers each year. About 75 people in skilled trades are trained in areas such as air conditioning and refrigeration, welding, manufacturing, electrical work, and plumbing. About 60 local people earn their CDL licenses each year after obtaining their training at Warwick. And all of this doesn't take into account our transfer program graduates who go on to earn four-year degrees before entering the workforce in fields like education, banking, social services, engineering, and other science and math-related areas. 90% of our students stay in our community and contribute to the local economy, including those who earn advanced degrees through the master's and even doctorate. Specialized short-term training programs upgrade the skill level of existing employees for our local businesses. Customized contract training is designed to provide for employers to meet specific training needs and accommodate their schedules. The demand for employees with expanded technological training is increasing. In preparation for a stronger tomorrow, we're investing in new technology like the augmented reality training you see here that we're using in our anatomy classes. We're expanding our offerings to prepare our students for the middle skill jobs of the evolving technology-based workplace. The need is great. If we all work together, I believe we'll have a much stronger Lower Shore for ourselves, our children, and our community. And I like it, that's great. Let's talk how we're looking forward and what we're trying to do, because this is a forecast. And one of the things we recently did was completed a new master plan. Of this, if you can see it well enough, the gray buildings are existing buildings, and the 7 red buildings are how we're going to grow in the future, how Warwick Community College is going to continue to grow and thrive and support our community. And specifically, as we move forward, our next facility is an Applied Technology Center project. We're in the pipeline for this particular building. We'll be in the both Wycomico and Worcester counties, who are support counties of the college, have made their commitment for their share of this particular project, and we're presumably going to be in the governor's budget come January. So we'll start designing this building next July and open this facility by the fall of 2023. It's going to be a great project. It's going to give us a lot of opportunities to deal with applied and emerging technologies, industrial technology, supply chain management, alternative energy, program logic control. Also give us an opportunity to expand what we're doing in our continuing education and workforce development arenas with transportation, industrial trades, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and welding, and those sorts of things. Another feature of this facility is makerspace. We're going to have a makerspace multipurpose lab for students and the community to interact together, creating an environment that really enhances opportunities for innovation and exploration among our students and the community. So with specialized labs, we'll have also computer labs and student study spaces for collaborative learning, much like the spaces you see here in this beautiful building. I love this facility every time I come in. On a Friday afternoon, it's packed. You know, that's the type of thing that's really cool about a facility like that. And we want to have those type of collaborative learning spaces to help meet our students' needs. So we have been addressing community needs through education and training. And I like to remind people that education is both a personal benefit and a community benefit, especially when you consider the fact that 90% of our students stay and live in this region, even those that go on and earn advanced degrees. It is a community benefit because we're providing a better education, better trained workforce for our local businesses. So as I often say, we've been changing lives since 1975, and we do it with the support of the community. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Salisbury University. We are delighted to host be the host site for this event. Beacon, of course, is part of Salisbury University, and we're very glad of it. Universities, as you probably know, are organizations primarily of people. And we are a campus with over 8,600 students and nearly 2,000 employees. This semester, we welcomed the largest and most diverse entering freshman class in Salisbury University's history. We also have a very high graduation rate, and we lost a lot of students on the other end to graduation. But overall, we're growing slightly every year, and we intend to keep it that way. Much of that growth does not come from the sort of traditional residential 18 to 20-year-old students who have been at Salisbury University for a long time, but rather comes from students who come to us at the regional higher education centers in Maryland. They come to us as non-traditional students, some transfer students from the community colleges. They study with us online and different ways. And so we are broadening the way that we carry out higher education here at Salisbury University. SU has more than 54,000 alumni all over the world, but many of them in Maryland and many of them on the Eastern Shore. Our alums tend to graduate and stay here. It turns out that about 65% of our students come from the other side of the bridge. And that's just a reflection of the fact that there are more people over there than here. But one of the things that we are trying to do is to recruit and educate and retain and graduate more students, a greater fraction of students who are from the Eastern Shore. As Ray just said, 90% of his students stay here and take jobs and contribute to the economy on the Eastern Shore. I can't say that yet, but we're working to get in that direction because we know that by recruiting students from the Eastern Shore, those graduates are much more likely to stay on the Eastern Shore and contribute to our economy. So they are accountants and nurses and teachers and much, much more. Beacon estimates that the regional economic impact of Salisbury University is greater than $500 million a year. And we're very proud of that. As individuals, our graduates earn about $20,000 a year more than they would otherwise earn if they just had a high school diploma. And those earnings add up to about $1 million per person, per graduate, over the course of a lifetime of employment. So individually, our graduates contribute to the local economy. But we've also begun construction on the Dave and Patsy Rommel Center for Entrepreneurship in downtown Salisbury. And it's located on the plaza off of our campus, but the idea is to encourage our students to select a major in whatever they're most passionate about, but then consider a minor in entrepreneurship and build a small business around that passion. And build that small business in Salisbury or somewhere else on the Eastern Shore. And so we are encouraging our students rather directly to show them how to build businesses on the Eastern Shore. In addition, of course, we sponsor larger entrepreneurial competitions which are open to people across the Mid-Atlantic region. And we help them get businesses started as well. There's a common word that I think all of us will mention, and that is partnership. We work as partners, educational partners and healthcare partners in this region to accomplish what we need to accomplish. Yes, there's a lot of demand for students to earn four-year degrees and graduate degrees at the two universities. But what you also see, especially in today's economy, is that people in trades are earning big money, big salaries. And so career and technical education is huge right now. People with associate's degrees can go out into the workforce and make a very good living. And so we all have our role in economic development. And it's just a matter of getting the right students to the right place to pursue their passion. We are committed to working with the partners that you see here on stage and elsewhere. Our education partners, our healthcare partners. We're committed to working with the city, the county, and business leaders in our region to continue to have a positive economic impact in this region. Thank you.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. On my way, funny thing happened on my way here. I was told I was given 50 minutes, and then got here with my colleagues and realized, oh, it was the zero was not supposed to be there. So bear with me. Just seriously. Like Cliff, I've joined the Eastern Shore a year ago, and so I'm very pleased to be here representing the University of Maryland Eastern Shore as the 16th president. And on behalf of my faculty and staff and students, we want to thank you guys for inviting us here today. I felt like it would be time. I wasn't sure when the last time you had an update from our particular campus about our impact on the Eastern Shore. So I thought this morning I would share with you a little bit of what of the past, and then tell you where we're going for the future. Our university at this particular time, we are the only doctoral research university on the Eastern Shore, and we're very proud to say that. We also, as my colleagues on the dais has said, we partner with not just each other, everyone here on this particular panel, but we partner with all of you out here as well, and throughout the state and throughout the country. You can see when we graduate students here from UMES what the economic impact is from a college earning standpoint. You can also see from this particular slide that for every job that we have on our campus, there are 1.2 jobs from private or public sectors that are created that are off campus, and this is all because of the spending that our students and our faculty and our staff are doing on the from our campus. We have a Hawk card, like many of the universities do, where our students go out and shop and buy things. It's like a credit card, but they put cash and things on it. You understand what that is. And since our mascot is our hawk, then it's called the Hawk card. And you can see from this slide that our UMES students actually spend and generate $1.5 million in the local economy here. This research was all done in 2017, and so it's pretty current. And the counties that we were looking at, Hanover did this research for our university. The 7 counties here on the Eastern Shore, from Prince George's, from Queen Anne's all the way down to Somerset and Worcester. The other thing I want to tell you about our students is that our students we have 80% of our students are from Maryland, and they come to us from every county in the state. So I can't say that I can keep them all on the Eastern Shore, but the ones who come from the Eastern Shore obviously come back and they stay on the shore, and that's one of the goals that we have. From a standpoint of their impact on the economy, you can see from this slide that every dollar spent by a UMES student generates 1.44, contributes back to the economy. And then if we move on further, and you see from a global standpoint, our impact gross, it's a total of over $140 million annually. And then you break that down into operating and capital and off-campus spending, and I hope you can see the numbers in the back. If you can't, from operating, over $89 million, and also from capital is about 33.5, and then other campus spending by our students is 17.5. Okay. The one thing we like to point out with our campus is our mission as an 1890 land-grant institution is to provide access and opportunity for anyone who wants to come have receive a college education. And we will always maintain that mission. What that really does is it says we also then have an impact on what we like to see as social mobility. And what I'm pleased to see is that in the rankings now, and I know we look at rankings and we love them when they're good about us, we hate them when they have us ranked low. And right now I'm ranked pretty high and I'm happy. So we are happy to be a top 20 HBCU university. And we also are happy to say that the U.S. News and World Report has also listed and pointed out that we are one of the top universities who send students back to increase their social mobility. And I think that's something that I am very, very proud of. And most of you in this room who have met me know that I'm also my goal is to make us become a top 10 HBCU. So keep working with me. Finally, I want to point out with you what we're doing from a standpoint of impact on sustainability. As this slide shows you, there are a number of initiatives that we currently are involved with on our campus and the surrounding region, from wind turbine to establishing and having a partnership with bringing natural gas to our side of the shore, working with poultry waste, and you see recycling, and we're trying to look at our economic and sustainability footprint with what we're doing with reduced energy and reduced electricity. We're building, and we really want to build more. We have the space to do it, as my colleagues have mentioned their buildings, but I'm proud to say we will be announcing, well, not announcing, but we have our pharmacy and health professions building is already on campus. We've actually cleared the land. We will be announcing our groundbreaking, we hope, very soon within the next few months, and we'll invite many of you to come and join us there. But this will be our newest building that will be coming on campus, and we'll be moving into that and opening that for students to move into it fall of 2021. Just a final couple points that I wanted to share, and very, very proud of where we are in our rankings. But one of the programs that many of you have heard me talk about around the region is that our physician assistant program, and I wanted to be able to share that with you again here today. That was a program that was accredited by the accrediting body, and last year when I arrived, I felt it was a need to try to regain that program on the shore. So we're very pleased that it takes you almost a year to go back and put in an application and go through all the steps that they have you to do for a physician assistant program. And they visited our campus in October. We are waiting to hear from them in March. And right now we know that it looks like it might be pretty positive because they've given us the green light to go ahead and accept applications. As of last week, we had over 500 applications for our physician assistant program. We can only accept 20 in that slot. So when that board meets at the first middle week of March, we're hoping that it's going to be positive, and that they say we have crossed all the I's and dotted all the T's, or whichever way that goes. But we hope and say that they will actually say we're accredited and we don't have any more milestones to reach. And then that class would be entering fall of 2020, and you can understand what that impact will do for the shore. I thank you very much on behalf of my institution and look forward to any questions.
Good morning, everyone, and I want to start by just saying once again thanks to the Chamber for including the public school system in the economic forecast this year. As I have shared in previous years, I do believe that there is a synergistic relationship between the local economy and the success of a public school system. In fact, I believe that that relationship is cyclical. Many of you have heard me describe that cycle previously, but I will repeat it because I think it bears repeating. Communities invest in public education, and then families are attracted to communities where investment in public education is valued. And as the population grows, commerce grows, and new businesses are attracted to those communities. And as the economy grows, property values increase. When the community is prospering and schools are well-funded, school quality increases, more families are attracted to the area, and so on and so on. So where does that cycle begin? It's like which came first, the chicken or the egg? And there is no one specific starting place. You can jump into that cycle at any point. But clearly, investment matters. But how that investment is spent matters more. And that's what Imagine 2022, which hopefully you all are familiar with, our strategic plan is all about, aligning resources to specific strategies. But what's even more impactful in terms of investment and how that investment is spent is seen in the work of the Commission on Innovation and Excellence in Public Education, otherwise known as the Kirwan Commission. Not only has the Commission made recommendations on high-dollar investments in public education, but those dollars are linked to very specific research-based policy recommendations for education in Maryland. The good news is there's quite a bit of overlap between Imagine 2022, our strategic plan, and the recommendations from the Kirwan Commission. Those dollars are tied to 5 policy recommendations and have the potential to greatly impact our ability to implement our plan, thus influencing that cycle that I described and ultimately impacting the economic development in our community. I love this community, and I celebrate every day the great things that are happening in our public school system and in our city and in Wicomico County as a whole. But we cannot ignore the social problems that are present and that are manifested every day in our schools. Social problems in our community such as crime, drug abuse, child abuse, family breakups, and other associated social issues that greatly impact childhood trauma and our ability to meet the needs of our students. Prevention is always cheaper than intervention, and if we don't invest now, we will certainly pay later. So investment in Kirwan funds, in addition to other local and state funds, can serve to ameliorate weaknesses in our social fabric. Public funds that will need to be spent on future investments, such as crime control or drug prevention, for example, are instead or could be instead productively invested in our public schools. All 5 of the policy recommendations of the work of the Kirwan Commission are critically important, but 2 of those recommendations and associated funding will directly impact this frayed social fabric that I've described that impacts our success and, again, the economic development of our community. And I just want to highlight those 2 this morning. The first recommendation is in the area of early childhood education. Recommendations to increase the number of slots for 3- and 4-year-olds in pre-kindergarten, to increase funding for quality improvement programs, and to add new tuition assistance programs for prospective and current child care professionals. This early childhood focused recommendation also describes the creation of additional Judy centers and family support centers and increased funding for Maryland's infants and toddlers programs. As you know, or I believe many of you know, I have been strongly advocating for universal pre-kindergarten in our school system in order to ensure the strongest of foundations for children before they enter our kindergarten classrooms. This development time frame is critically important in brain development. We've made tremendous growth in this area since the inception of Imagine 2022, increasing the number of pre-kindergarten students enrolled and increasing the percentage of students who are ready to learn when they enter kindergarten. And I'm looking forward to sharing more details about that with you at the State of the Schools in January. The second policy recommendation area that directly impacts our ability to address the needs of our students is to add resources to ensure that our most at-risk students are successful. Imagine 2022, again, is well aligned to this Kirwan recommendation, as seen in our efforts to provide supports for the social, emotional, and behavioral needs of our students. The Commission has recommended a per-pupil concentration of poverty weight in schools with at least 55% farms, free and reduced price meals. In addition, that's in addition to the current weight based upon the overall percentage of free and reduced meals in our county, which for Wicomico is the 5th highest in the state. So this additional concentration of poverty weight for Wicomico schools will benefit 11 of our schools, that's almost half of our schools, that have at least 55% farms. They're also recommending a revision in the funding formulas for both special education and English language learners. In Wicomico schools, meeting the needs of our special education population has become increasingly difficult, and our English learner population is ever growing, with the number of English learners in Wicomico now being the 8th largest in Maryland, at almost 1,200 students in our ESOL program. That's almost 1 out of every 10 students in Wicomico schools who are not proficient in the English language. In this area, they're also recommending additional training for school staff to recognize mental health issues, as well as other issues related to trauma, to coordinate access to needed mental health and other services for students, and to increase and expand school-based wellness centers. Currently in Wicomico, we have 2 school-based wellness centers, one at Y High and one at Wicomico Middle School, with another planned for the new Beaver Run construction. So all of this is to say that through continued local and state education funding, as well as the potential additional funding as a result of the work of the Kirwan Commission over the course of the next 10 years, the impact on this synergistic relationship between investment and school quality could be tremendous, and our ability to focus on prevention rather than intervention will serve to repair the social fabric of our community and to facilitate long-term economic development in our community. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Steve Leonard. I'm the president and CEO of Peninsula Regional Health System. Thank you to the Chamber for inviting us here to share a little bit about what's going on with the health system. There's really not much going on right now. Also, thank you for this great group. I'm a proud alumni of both Chuck and Heidi's institutions, and I'd like to think that each of them has helped in many ways to me leading this organization. So I'm not a from here, so sorry, Donna and Ray, I can't claim that. So a little bit about the institution. I was happy to hear that someone heard our mission these days. It's to keep people healthy and well and actually out of the hospital. But trust me, if you need a hospital, we want to be the one that you go to. It's very characteristic of me to pay homage to the people who came here before me, and in some ways perhaps before many of the folks in this room, especially the Beacon people up front here. This is Dr. Don Woods, and I moved here for this institution. I moved here because this is an unusual institution that has a history of physicians who are doing amazing things for a rural environment. And if you're from here, you might not appreciate that, with all due respect. But if you've come here like me, the fact that we were doing cardiac caths with Dr. Don Woods in 1972, followed up in 1974 by the gentleman, the grandson of the founder of the hospital, Dr. Nevins Todd, doing open heart surgery in 1974, you would realize how amazing the institution is. We are not perfect. We strive to be, but it's these types of folks who back in the 70s really did amazing things and set us apart. And for that reason, we serve as the regional tertiary care center for the entire lower Delmarva Peninsula. So all of those other hospitals, some are actually becoming part of the family in short order, really do send some of the most sick and complex cases to this institution because of the folks who came before us. A little bit of an update about the affiliation, since I've heard it mentioned a couple of times. Nanacook is coming into the family on January 1st. That process is all but complete. The final resolutions were approved by our board. We've cleared all legal hurdles. I'd like to say our contribution to economic development this year was in the form of lawyers, accountants, and consultants, who I've actually lost track of in this deal in working through these. We've even had to have FTC attorneys 2 sets of FTC attorneys. But suffice to say, the process has been given the all clear, and on January 1st, that closes. That's extremely exciting for us. Healthcare in the future is all about scale and the ability of institutions to come together, work together to take care of a larger population while being more efficient and effective in delivering those services. And Nanticoke, bringing them into the family, was all about working towards scale, especially considering the development that's going on in Sussex County, the southern part of Sussex County. We're equally proud to look at Somerset County and work with McCready to say, how can we help the poorest county in the state have sustainable health care? And I've got one more regulatory hurdle, hopefully on the 19th, keep your fingers crossed, that will get clear, and then we can redevelop healthcare in Somerset County with the building of a freestanding medical facility in Crisfield. It's about a 25,000 square foot facility that will really have everything. We won't have inpatient stays in Crisfield anymore, but quite frankly, we'll have more resources devoted towards population health and wellness. There'll be a freestanding emergency department, physician's office, behavioral health, rehab, and x-ray. So again, everything the community needs down there, our focus is health and wellness. A couple of the things while we're doing this, by the way, we were proud to bring on a couple of very large physician practices onto our network. So Delmarva Heart joined us October 1st, and Peninsula Cardiology joined us on January 1st. It is more and more common for physicians to be part of enterprises these days as opposed to being independent, and that is also our responsibility, is to recruit and retain folks. I'll talk about that in a minute. So suffice to say, the system is looking different. We only recently counted up the number of locations. It took quite a while, but the system is continuing to grow. We want to be that system that people want to be a part of from a community perspective. We want to partner with individuals on their journey of health and wellness. We also want to partner with other organizations on providing that journey. So suffice to say, I don't think our growth is done. I think it's going to be more and more common for people to come into a larger system and participate together. A little bit about the hospital with what's going on here locally. 1897. I got an email just the other day that we're actually starting to think about 125 years. If you think about that, I only heard one other organization. I think it was the Handy Seafood that was 125 years. So pretty incredible. We're known for emergency and trauma. And if you look on the map of the state of Maryland, it's us. So we take care of about 500,000 people in Sussex, Wycomico, Worcester, Dorchester, Somerset County, and Accomack. From a tertiary perspective, it's about 500,000 people. But guess what? It's another 300,000 of our friends that come and visit us from the Western Shore. And what do they do while they're here besides have fun and spend money? They have babies, heart attacks, strokes, and guess where they come? They come to us, and we are proud to do it. We're continuing to make the necessary investments both at the main campus and throughout the region. This was one of our more recent investments we did. It's a $5 million room. One room in the hospital cost $5 million. It is the only hybrid operating room in Maryland and in the Mid-Atlantic states. Hopkins doesn't have this. University of Maryland doesn't have it. And it's all built around one individual. It's hard to see right there. Her name is Dr. Sophia Shakur. She is a 2001 valedictorian from Bennett High School. So hats off to Dr. Shakur. She obviously graduated from Bennett and then went on for 16 years of additional training to become a neuroendovascular, minimally invasive surgeon. So she saves lives, and I mean that, saves lives every week, even last night. So by the fact that she is able to do stuff that no other person in this region can do. Other service lines, obviously we're known for our heart and vascular. I'm not going to go through these because I too thought I had 45 minutes, and our cancer center. But what I want to talk about is behavioral health. Our goal, quite honestly, is to be just as good in behavioral health as we are on the cardiac side and the cancer side. And this is kind of, it's a huge mission for us. We did get recent approval to open up a child and adolescent psych unit, and that's something we're very much focused on. But quite frankly, it's easy to build the space. That might sound, I don't want to put offense to the builders out there. But creating psychiatrists and providers is actually where our challenge is. One of the things that we're looking to do is expand in the area of medical education. We did get approval from the state, at least verbal approval, to have an internal medicine residency program at PRMC, which that's exciting. One of my goals is to be able to take somebody from a local high school, send them to a local college, send them to a medical school, And interestingly enough, in January, we had Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medical students coming here to Salisbury. We actually rented an apartment, The Gathering, 4 units, where we are putting up medical students. And over the next several years, we want to have residencies here so that we can, again, grow them here, train them here, and retain them here, and taking care. We need somebody to take care of all of us, right? And that's the intent there. And behavioral health is one of those huge opportunities. You can't read this, but let's just say this. One of the other things besides high quality that we're focused on is the cost of healthcare. So we are one of the highest quality. Again, we're not perfect, but we are high quality and low cost compared to everyone else in the state. So all of those are DRGs. One of those is a open heart DRG. It costs you about $41,000 to have an open heart at Peninsula. If you go to Hopkins or Maryland, I think it's $68,000 and $75,000 for that same procedure. So again, from a business perspective, we are focused on trying to, again, high quality, low cost. The only one that's red, by the way, is for a newborn delivery. It costs more at Peninsula, but we save the mother money, so it's actually a deal overall. And then finally, what's going on from an ambulatory perspective? More and more of what we're doing is keeping care close to home. Okay, we want to keep people out of the hospital, so how do you do that? Good relationship with a primary care doctor and sites close to home. I mentioned the one in Crisfield. We are finishing up our Ocean Pines campus, which that last building, it's about 60,000 square feet, is going up. Again, that campus, the goal of that is everything you need short of a hospital bed. If you need a hospital bed, come to Peninsula, go to AGH, but we want to keep you out of the high-cost environments. Probably the worst kept secret is our Millsboro expansion. We are looking for property in Millsboro. Bill gets calls all the time. It's like a bad secret out there. Our intent is to build a campus up in Millsboro. So we are looking actively right now for property so that we can do the same thing, meet the needs of that community, close to home, and if they need a hospital, come down to Salisbury. So last but not least, I'll mention the system. You know, we take a step on January 1st. We are in the process of rebranding exercise, and in that vein, we are changing the name of the system. It still will be known as Peninsula Regional Medical Center, still will be known as Nanticoke Memorial Hospital. We have a physician enterprise these days that after January 1st will have over 220 providers in it. It's one of the largest physician enterprises in the region. And by the way, it has 800 employees. I think that's probably where the 800 number came from earlier. So that's pretty exciting, and we'll continue growing. As far as assets, we're about $1 billion institution on financial assets at this point. We have significant economic impact. That's all we know. We haven't calculated it yet, so maybe next year we'll have that number for you. So with that, thank you. It's very proud to lead the organization. I think most people up here would agree, yes, we help provide support, but there's tremendous teams doing the work each and every day and providing care, and our team is proud to support them. So thank you for the time.